There comes a moment in every life when staying small costs more than rising higher. A moment when you realize that living beneath your potential feels heavier than the weight of your struggles. You were not created to crawl through life. You were not designed to blend in with the crowd. You were built with greatness in your bones, with destiny etched into your DNA. And the call today is simple. Step into your greatness. Greatness is not something that begins on the outside. It starts on the inside. It is not measured by applause, awards, or validation, but by the courage to see yourself differently. Many people spend their entire lives waiting for someone else to confirm what is already written inside of them. But if you never shift your thinking, you will always live beneath your calling. The real prison is not the walls that surround you. It is the mindset that limits you. When you convince yourself that you are ordinary, you forfeit the extraordinary life that has been set before you. The battlefield of greatness is fought in the mind because if you cannot believe it, you will never walk in it. The enemy of your destiny is not always the challenges you face, but the thoughts you entertain. You cannot think small and live big. You cannot think like a victim and walk like a victor. Every time you allow negative voices to define your worth, you bury your potential one shovel of doubt at a time. Greatness demands a renewal of perspective. You must train your mind to reject lies and embrace truth. You must declare that you are not defined by where you were born, what you have lost, or who abandoned you. You are defined by the purpose planted within you before time began. The shift happens when you realize you are not a mistake struggling to matter. You are a masterpiece discovering your identity. You were not created to blend in with the crowd. You were created to stand out as light in a dark world. The greatness within you will remain locked away until your mind accepts that you are capable of carrying it. And when you start thinking differently, doors begin to open that once looked impossible. Not because the door changed, but because your perspective shifted. The danger of small thinking is that it keeps you comfortable in places you were never meant to stay. Small thinking convinces you to settle for survival when you were designed for abundance. It tells you to take the crumbs when a feast has already been prepared for you. It whispers that you are unworthy, unwanted, unseen, and undeserving. But the moment you challenge those lies, you begin to unlock the hidden capacity within. Your mindset determines your movement, and your movement determines your manifestation. Every time you choose to believe bigger, you give permission to your destiny to rise. But understand this, the shift in mindset will not always come easy. It will be opposed by memories of failure, voices of criticism, and the scars of past wounds. Every time you try to think higher, the enemy of your purpose will try to pull you lower. That is why you must train your mind daily, speak life over yourself, and reject the poison of negativity. You cannot step into greatness with a mind that is cluttered with defeat. The transformation of the mind is a discipline, and it requires that you feed yourself with truth, with faith, with vision. You must speak words that align with where you are going, not where you have been. When you shift your thinking, you give yourself permission to dream again. You allow yourself to see possibilities beyond your limitations. A renewed mind creates a renewed vision, and a renewed vision creates renewed strength. Your outlook determines your outcome. If you believe you are powerless, you will live powerless. If you believe you are capable, you will live capable. What you expect is what you attract, and what you dwell on is what you will eventually manifest. That is why the shift must begin inside. You cannot conquer a mountain if your mind has already bowed to defeat. You cannot walk through open doors if your thoughts have already locked you in a cage. There is greatness buried under the rubble of your doubts, and it is waiting to rise the moment you decide to think differently. Every giant you face begins to shrink when your mind rises above fear. Every limitation begins to loosen its grip when you see yourself as more than a statistic or a survivor. You must declare that you were created with intentionality, that your life carries weight, and that your presence has purpose. A renewed mind is a weapon, and once it is sharpened, nothing can stand against it. When you see yourself correctly, you begin to walk differently, talk differently, and live differently. The shift in mindset is the key that unlocks the door to the greatness you were always destined to walk in. But every scar has a voice, every wound carries a lesson, and every tear shed has watered the ground where future strength will grow. Pain has a way of shaping us in ways that comfort never could. The places where you have been crushed, where you thought you could not endure, are the very places where the foundations of greatness are laid. You cannot run from pain and expect to find purpose, because the two are intricately connected. The things you survived were not accidents. They were assignments designed to draw out the depth of resilience you didn't even know was there. When you confront your pain instead of burying it, you discover that what looked like the end was actually the beginning of your transformation. There is power in acknowledging your scars. Too often, people try to hide the wounds they've endured, ashamed of the battles they fought in the dark. But scars are not symbols of weakness. They are proof of survival. Every mark on your soul is evidence that life tried to break you, and you refused to be broken. The oil of greatness is not pressed from the ease of life, but from the crushing of difficulty. Grapes never produce wine until they are pressed. Olives never produce oil until they are crushed. And neither will your life produce greatness until you confront and endure the seasons of pressing. Pain is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It reveals your strength. It strips away illusions. And it births character in places where you thought nothing could grow. When you look back on the moments that hurt the most, you begin to realize that they were also the moments that changed you the most. What you thought was designed to kill you was actually preparing you. It was sharpening your vision, heightening your awareness, and molding your heart into a vessel strong enough to carry destiny. Without pain, there would be no urgency to grow. Without struggle, there would be no appreciation for victory. Without wounds, there would be no compassion for others who are bleeding. Confronting your pain does not mean you allow it to define you. It means you refuse to let it silence you. It means you stand boldly and declare that what was sent to destroy you has only strengthened your resolve. Pain has the ability to unlock hidden reservoirs of power within you. Some of the greatest ideas, the strongest leadership, and the deepest compassion are born out of seasons of struggle. When life backs you into a corner, when you are stripped of everything familiar, you find out what is really inside of you. You discover a fight you didn't know you had. You uncover wisdom that only comes through walking through fire. Pain pulls out treasures from the depths of your soul that comfort could never touch. Every sleepless night, every heartbreak, every disappointment, all of it is being woven together into the fabric of greatness. But confronting your pain requires courage, because it is easier to numb it, easier to deny it, easier to bury it beneath distractions. Yet buried pain does not disappear, it festers. Unhealed wounds infect every area of life, making it impossible to step into the fullness of who you were created to be. Confronting pain means facing the memories you wanted to forget, admitting the hurts you wanted to ignore, and standing in the truth of what you've endured. It means letting the light of honesty shine into the darkest places of your past. It means acknowledging the weight of what you carried and choosing to rise from it instead of being chained to it. There is nothing wasted in your journey. Even the pain that felt unbearable is a piece of your preparation. The fire you walk through is refining you, burning off what cannot go with you into the next season. The pressure you endured is not punishment. It is promotion in disguise. Every painful experience is producing wisdom, strength, and resilience that cannot be taken away from you. Confronting your pain allows you to reclaim your power. It allows you to turn your wounds into weapons, your struggles into stories of triumph, your brokenness into bridges for others to cross. Pain is a currency, and when you refuse to waste it, you begin to see that the very things you despised are the same things pushing you into your destiny. You cannot expect to rise into the fullness of who you are while remaining tied to places, people, and environments that suffocate your growth. There are atmospheres that drain your energy, voices that limit your belief, and relationships that keep you tethered to cycles of smallness. Greatness demands that you recognize when it is time to separate, when it is time to leave behind what no longer feeds your purpose. An eagle cannot soar while it is trapped in the nest, and you cannot ascend while clinging to the safety of what is familiar. Many never step into their destiny because they refuse to release the comfort of the cage. They are more loyal to the nest than to their wings, and as a result, they never discover the altitude they were designed to reach. Separation is never easy because it often requires walking away from what is known into the unknown. It means leaving behind circles of comfort, communities of familiarity, and even relationships that you once thought were essential. Yet not everyone can go where you are going. Not every voice can speak into the place of your future. Some people are only assigned to the chapter you are leaving, not the story you are entering. If you insist on carrying dead weight into new dimensions, you will sabotage the very thing you were born to become. You must learn the difference between those who help you heal and those who hold you hostage. Greatness requires the courage to stand alone if necessary. There are seasons where the path of destiny is narrow, and it will not allow you to drag everyone with you. Loneliness in such seasons is not a curse. It is a classroom. It is where clarity sharpens, where vision becomes precise, and where strength is forged. The silence of isolation teaches lessons that the noise of the crowd could never reveal. When you step away from environments that stifle you, you gain the ability to hear the whispers of destiny more clearly. You begin to see possibilities that were once clouded by distraction. You start to discern opportunities that were hidden in plain sight. But separation is not only about leaving people behind, it is also about leaving behind patterns, habits, and mentalities that no longer serve you. Some of the greatest enemies to your greatness are not external voices, but internal mindsets. You cannot step into the extraordinary while clinging to ordinary thinking. You cannot embrace abundance while still attached to scarcity. The separation must happen inside you before it ever manifests outside of you. You must separate from fear, from self-doubt, from excuses, and from the toxic narratives that have convinced you to shrink. The environment within you must change before the environment around you can align. When you dare to separate from what is limiting you, you will encounter resistance. People will misunderstand you, question your choices, and even accuse you of being arrogant or ungrateful. But the truth is that your future cannot be explained to everyone. Your calling cannot be justified to those who are content with mediocrity. You do not owe an explanation for outgrowing what no longer fits you. Just as a snake sheds its skin to grow, you must shed layers of relationships, environments, and thinking that no longer align with where you are headed. Growth demands sacrifice, and separation is part of that sacrifice. There will be moments where separation feels like loss, but in reality, it is gain. You are making room for new alignments, divine connections, and opportunities that could never enter while your space was occupied with what was draining you. When you release what is not for you, you create capacity for what is. Separation is not rejection, it is redirection. It is a divine strategy to position you where your wings can spread, where your vision can expand, and where your destiny can manifest without hindrance. You were not created to stay grounded by the weight of unhealthy attachments. The higher you go, the lighter you must travel, and the lighter you travel, the farther you will soar. Dreams without action are nothing more than illusions. Visions without movement are nothing more than fantasies, and faith without works is nothing more than empty words. There comes a point in every journey when praying alone is not enough, when wishing alone is not enough, when talking about it is not enough. At some point you have to move. At some point you have to step out of the boat and walk on the water. Too many people die with dreams still locked inside them, not because they lack the ability to achieve them, but because they never took the action required to unlock them. Action is the bridge between intention and manifestation, between vision and reality, between potential and purpose. Without action, greatness lies dormant, waiting for the moment you are bold enough to move. Obedience is the catalyst that activates greatness. There are moments when you feel the pull in your spirit, moments when you sense that something greater is calling you, and in those moments, obedience is required. Obedience means moving even when the path is unclear, even when the resources are lacking, even when the outcome is uncertain. It means trusting that each step you take will reveal the next. Destiny never shows you the full blueprint. It only gives you the next instruction. And when you follow that instruction, when you take that step, doors begin to open that you could never have forced open on your own. Miracles are not released into stillness. They are released into motion. The waters do not part until the first step is taken. The walls do not fall until the march begins. There is a danger in waiting for perfect timing. Perfection is an illusion that robs you of progress. The idea that you must have everything figured out, everything in place, everything secured before you move, is a lie designed to paralyze you. If you wait for perfection, you will wait forever. Greatness requires movement in the midst of imperfection. It requires stepping out while still uncertain, building while still learning, creating while still questioning. The greatest innovations, the greatest breakthroughs, the greatest legacies were not born in perfection. They were born in courage. Those who are remembered are not the ones who had it all figured out, but the ones who were willing to act when others were still frozen in hesitation. Action will always be met with opposition. The moment you decide to move, resistance will rise. Fear will whisper in your ear, doubt will scream in your mind, and obstacles will appear on your path. But the presence of opposition is not a sign you are on the wrong track. It is confirmation you are moving in the right direction. The resistance you face is proof that you are breaking cycles, shattering ceilings, and disrupting the status quo. If your movement was not dangerous to the forces that oppose you, there would be no resistance. You cannot let opposition stop you. Every challenge you face while taking action is a test of your persistence, a test of your faith, a test of how badly you want what you claim to desire. Obedience and action are inseparable. To know what you are called to do and refuse to do it is to live in rebellion against your own destiny. To sense the pull of greatness and ignore it is to silence the very reason you were born. Action is not always glamorous. It is often mundane. It is found in the daily discipline of showing up, the consistency of building, the sacrifice of effort when no one is watching. Greatness is not built in a single leap, but in a series of steady, intentional steps. Every action compounds, every decision builds upon on the last, every movement creates momentum. The vision that looks impossible in the distance begins to take form when you consistently obey and act. The gap between where you are and where you are destined to be is not as wide as it looks, but it will never close on its own. It only closes when you move. Action transforms fear into courage, turns dreams into reality, and shifts potential into purpose. The longer you delay, the heavier hesitation becomes. The longer you wait, the louder doubt grows. But every time you act, you silence fear a little more, you weaken doubt a little more, and you strengthen faith a little more. Movement breeds confidence, confidence fuels momentum, and momentum births manifestation. The key to greatness is not simply dreaming about it, not simply talking about it, not simply waiting for it, but daring to act in obedience to the call that is already stirring inside of you. Falling is inevitable, stumbling is unavoidable, and setbacks are a part of the journey toward anything worthwhile. What separates those who walk in greatness from those who live in mediocrity is not the absence of failure, but the refusal to stay down when failure comes. Resilience is the unseen force that pushes you back to your feet when life has knocked you flat. It is the fire that burns in the soul when the storm has stripped away your strength. It is the conviction that though you have been shaken, you will not be shattered. Every time you rise after being pushed down, you grow stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the destiny that lies ahead. Resilience is not built in moments of ease. It is forged in adversity. Strength is not developed in the absence of challenges, but in the face of them. The oak tree does not grow deep roots on calm, sunny days. It digs deep when the winds rage and the rains pour. In the same way, your resilience develops when you endure seasons of uncertainty, when you survive situations that seem designed to destroy you. Every setback is an opportunity to strengthen your core. Every disappointment is a chance to test your endurance. The greatness within you cannot be cultivated in a life of comfort. It must be refined in the furnace of trials. There will be seasons where it feels as though everything is falling apart, where you question whether you have the strength to go on. These moments are not evidence of weakness. They are the very moments when resilience is born. It is in the breaking that your ability to bend without collapsing is revealed. Resilience does not mean you do not feel pain. It means you refuse to let pain dictate your future. It does not mean you never cry. It means that when the tears are finished, you wipe your face and keep moving. It does not mean you never doubt. It means that when doubt comes, you push through anyway. Failure is a teacher disguised as disappointment. Every time you fall short, every time you make a mistake, every time something does not work the way you hoped, there is wisdom to be gained. The resilient learn from failure rather than being defined by it. They extract the lesson, apply the knowledge, and use it as fuel to rise again. They refuse to internalize failure as identity. Falling does not make you a failure, quitting does. Stumbling does not make you weak, refusing to rise does. Every failure is a stepping stone. Every obstacle is a building block. Every loss is a lesson shaping you for what lies ahead. Resilience is also a mindset. It is the ability to look at setbacks and see setups, to view obstacles as opportunities, To believe that the storm is not the end, but the preparation for a new beginning. It requires shifting your perspective from asking, why me, to asking, what now? Instead of drowning in the weight of adversity, resilience asks how this can be used to strengthen, refine, and grow. The power of resilience lies not only in surviving storms, but in emerging from them with greater clarity, purpose, and determination. The resilient are not immune to fear, but they refuse to be ruled by it. They are not exempt from pain, but they refuse to be paralyzed by it. They are not spared from hardship, but they refuse to surrender to it. Resilience is the inner voice that says, I will not break here. It is the determination to rise from ashes, to rebuild from ruins, to recover from devastation. It is the courage to keep moving when every reason to stop is screaming at you. The path to greatness is paved with countless moments that require you to dig deep, to stand tall, and to keep pressing forward even when your strength feels spent. Every time you exercise resilience, you expand your capacity. You become stronger in the face of storms, quicker to recover from setbacks, more steadfast under pressure. Life will test you repeatedly, but each test is an opportunity to prove that what is inside you is greater than what is against you. Your resilience becomes your weapon, your shield, your foundation. It is what ensures that no matter how many times you are knocked down, you will always rise again with greater force and greater determination than before